Energy is the only currency that matters. All else, recognition, validation, admiration, or illusions that steal it. Mastery is a natural side effect of holding energy in one place long enough undistracted. Energy is the only currency that matters. Energy is attention without division, not motivation, not excitement, not intensity. Energy is the capacity to stay with one thing without leaking into thought, comparison, fear, or desire. A man with money but scattered energy is poor. A man with silence and sustained attention is wealthy beyond measure. Everything real, clarity, skill, insight, creation, is paid for with energy. There is no other price. All else, recognition, validation, admiration, or illusions that steal it. Recognition feels like nourishment, validation feels like oxygen, admiration feels like proof that you exist. They are none of these. They are transactions that drain energy. Why? Because the moment you want recognition, attention splits. Awareness turns outward, work becomes performance, silence disappears. You are no longer with the craft, you are with the image of yourself doing the craft. That image is a parasite. It feeds on your energy and gives nothing back. The invisible theft. The theft is subtle. You don't feel tired because of work, you feel tired because of inner commentary. Is this good enough? Will this pay off? Will people notice? Am I ahead or behind? Each question fractures energy. Most people are exhausted not from effort but from division. Mastery is a natural side effect. This is where people misunderstand. They think mastery is discipline, repetition, hours logged, force. No, mastery happens when energy stays put. When attention is undivided long enough, reality teaches you directly. No effort required. You see what matters, what doesn't, what is false, what is essential. Skill refines itself, understanding deepens on its own. Mastery is not achieved, it emerges, holding energy in one place long enough, undistracted. This is the bold teaching. Undistracted does not mean blocking thoughts, fighting impulses, forcing focus. It means not obeying the urge to escape. Boredom comes, you stay. Restlessness comes, you stay. Uncertainty comes, you stay. No bargaining, no narration, no drama. Energy stops leaking because there is nowhere else to go. When energy stops leaking, it condenses. Condensed energy is power. Condensed attention is depth. Condensed presence is mastery. The final truth. You don't need more ambition. You don't need better systems. You don't need motivation. You need fewer exits. When exits disappear, energy returns. Work becomes inevitable. Mastery appears quietly, not as an achievement, as a byproduct. Recognition excites the ego. Energy builds reality. The world rewards noise. Reality rewards silence. Hold your energy, everything else will come or won't. It won't matter. All else, recognition, validation, admiration, or illusions that steal it. Recognition, validation, admiration are not neutral. They don't just feel good, they change the direction of attention. The moment you want recognition, attention leaves the work and turns toward the image of yourself being seen. That split is the theft. Energy cannot flow in two directions. Why they are illusions? They promise something they can never deliver. Stability, fulfillment, completion, certainty. Recognition gives a temporary sensation then disappears. Validation lasts minutes. Admiration requires repetition. So the mind keeps chasing them. This chase has no end point. An endless chase is an energy leak by design. The hidden cost. The real cost is not time, it is division. When you seek recognition, one part of you does the work, another part watches yourself doing it. A third part imagines how it will be received. This internal audience never shuts up. You are never fully here. Depth is impossible in this state. Why they weaken mastery? Mastery requires long attention, boredom tolerance, error without self-image damage, silence. Recognition makes all of this dangerous. Now, mistakes threaten identity. Boredom feels like failure. Silence feels unproductive. Simplicity feels invisible. So you start performing instead of learning. Performance looks impressive. Learning looks ordinary. depth dies here. Why the mind believes it needs them. The mind equates being seen as being safe, approval is survival, admiration is worth. This is ancient biology misfiring in modern life. The danger is no longer real, but the reaction remains. So the mind trades energy for reassurance, a bad trade. The final reason: recognition, validation, admiration, or external references. The moment you use an external reference, reality becomes secondary, truth becomes negotiable, depth becomes optional. Reality does not negotiate. Reality only reveals itself to undivided attention. External reference is divided attention. That is the depth. Recognition does not build you, validation does not stabilize you, admiration does not deepen you. They split attention, feed identity, prevent silence, keep energy moving outward. Energy that moves outward cannot go inward. Depth lives inward. The work asks for your whole attention, recognition asks for a performance. You cannot give both. One steals from the other. What recognition does to the mind? When recognition enters, the mind splits. Not metaphorically, functionally. Instead of one stream of attention, you now have three. The doer. This part is actually working. Writing, studying, building, applying, training. This is the part that could touch depth, but it rarely gets full energy. The watcher. The moment recognition matters, another voice appears. How I am doing? Does this look smart? Am I progressing fast enough? This watcher is not evil, but it is fatal to depth. Why? Because attention is no longer inside the work. It is hovering above it, judging. Judgment fractures presence. The imagined audience. Then comes the third layer, the most damaging one. What will people think? Will this impress them? How will this be received? This audience may not even exist, but the mind keeps feeding it. Now, the work is no longer between you and reality. It is between you and an imaginary crowd. Depth cannot survive an audience. Why this internal audience never shuts up? Because recognition has no finish line. Even if you get it, it fades. It needs renewal. It raises the standard. So the mind stays alert. On guard, performing. Silence becomes impossible. The cost nobody sees. Most people think this costs focus. No, it costs energy. Each internal voice consumes energy. The doer, the watcher, the audience manager. You feel tired not because the work is hard, but because you are multitasking internally. Reality does not reveal itself to multitasking. Why depth requires one voice? Depth requires one attention stream, no commentary, no audience, no self-monitoring, just contact. When attention is single, time disappears, effort dissolves, learning accelerates, insight arises naturally. This is not mystical, it is mechanical. Why most people never notice this? Because the watcher feels responsible, the audience feels necessary. They seem harmless, but together they ensure constant self-consciousness, shallow engagement, chronic fatigue, no depth. The moment you forget yourself, the work deepens. The moment you remember yourself, the work becomes performance. Performance can be praised, depth cannot. You cannot be present and observed at the same time. Recognition installs an observer. That observer is the enemy of depth. What an external reference actually is. An external reference is anything outside the work that you use to measure yourself. Recognition, validation, admiration, likes, praise, titles. Am I doing well compared to others? The moment you introduce this, the work is no longer the authority. Something else is. That changes everything. What happens the instant an external reference appears? The hierarchy flips. Before, reality teaches you. You listen. After, audience judges you. You adjust reality to look good. Reality is no longer primary. It becomes secondary. You are no longer asking what is true. You are asking what will be accepted. Truth and acceptance are not the same thing. Truth becomes negotiable. When truth is primary, errors are valuable. Discomfort is informative. Slowness is allowed. Simplicity is enough. When external reference is primary, errors threaten identity. Discomfort feels dangerous. Slowness looks like incompetence. Simplicity looks unimpressive. So you start negotiating with truth. You polish instead of learn, explain instead of understand, avoid depth to avoid looking ignorant. Choose clarity that looks good, not clarity that is true. That is negotiation. Depth becomes optional. Depth requires long attention, boredom tolerance, confusion without panic, staying when nothing happens. But none of this is rewarded by external references. In fact, depth often looks slow, unimpressive, invisible, inefficient. So, when an audience exists, depth becomes optional. You can skip it and still get approval. Most people do. Why reality does not negotiate? Reality does not care how smart you look, how motivated you feel, how much effort you display. Reality responds only to sustained contact, accuracy, patience, undivided attention. You either see what is there or you don't. There is no compromise. Why undivided attention is non negotiable? Reality is subtle, its signals are quiet, slow, easily missed. Divided attention cannot perceive subtlety. If attention is split between the work, your image, and audience, reality stays hidden, not as punishment, as a fact. External reference splits attention, redirects energy outward, installs self consciousness, replaces truth with performance. You don't lose energy dramatically, you lose it continuously, a slow leak. By the time you notice, depth is gone. Reality does not reveal itself to those who want to be seen, it reveals itself to those who are willing to disappear. External reference keeps you visible, undivided attention makes you invisible. That is the trade, and that is the theft. So, energy is not effort, energy is undivided attention. Whatever fragments attention drains energy. Recognition, validation, admiration do this quietly by pulling attention outward and installing an internal audience. When attention divides, reality recedes. When attention stays whole, reality reveals itself. Mastery is not achieved through force, ambition, or intensity. It appears naturally when energy is held in one place long enough, without escape, without performance, without an audience. Hold your energy, let everything else go. What remains is depth.